Well, it's great to be in Tirana. I was thinking, today, the first time I came to Albania, and I was a very young student at the time, and there was a lot of turmoil. I came here in 1990 and 1991, and I was actually here on February 17, 1991, so I was in Tirana when the streets were full of people, and it was very exciting to be here. And I remember being on the roof of what was then the Daiti Hotel with a camera, videotaping and taking pictures of everything. So it's great to be back. It so happens that my presentation to you coincides with the launch of a new product called Jump to It that we have released this week and is already receiving a lot of press coverage and CNET and Information Week and all of the different sites, and you'll see a lot more press and media coming out about the launch. When I think of the concept of blissful uncertainty, or rather, the concept of uncertainty has been something I've embraced my entire life. And it brings me great happiness because you don't know exactly what's going to happen, and you challenge yourself to do very difficult things, ultimately. So we set out to build a platform that would connect literally all of the proprietary platforms in the market. For example, Google Android, which many of you have Google Android phones, I'm sure. Apple iOS, so that would be iPhones and iPads, and Windows devices. All of these are proprietary technologies, and the question was, could we make these different platforms work harmoniously together? The reason for that is that basically most people today are multi-platform. So 90% of the worldwide market for computers for the various flavors of the Windows operating system, 90% is controlled by Microsoft and Windows. In the smartphone market, over 80% of the smartphone market is Android. In fact, I think it's about 83% now, and the iPhones are down globally to about 11%. And in the tablet market, Apple has still a very commanding percentage of the market, about a little over 40% of the market. So it's very, very typical for people to have a Windows PC, let's say an Android phone, and an Apple iPad, or some other combination of those devices. And this has created a certain fragmentation. If you went back 10 years ago, most people had their files stored on a Windows computer, maybe 95 or 96% of the people worldwide, and maybe 3 or 4% had their files stored on Apple computers. So we had a certain, basically unification of our data. And we had one search box to search across all of our data. So, we had default folders for photos, music, video, and documents, and you could search across all of that. What basically happened was a lot of progress created a lot of problems. When Apple came out with the iPhone, it was revolutionary. It was literally a computer in your hand. And this was in 2007. And I remember that we launched, I believe it was May 29th, 2007, we launched full support for the iPhone the very following Monday. So it was a Friday they launched, and then on Monday we had full support for the iPhone, translating Windows files and other types of files for the iPhone. So now you had two computers in your life. You had a PC and you had a smartphone. And so Apple created this revolution, and of course Google came out with Android, and ultimately now Microsoft has the Windows Phone 8, which is also an excellent platform. Then we moved to 2010, and Apple again innovated and created a whole new device category with the iPad. And the iPad basically took off. Again, it was a computer. So now you ended up having potentially 3 computers in your life, not to mention the fact that you might have a computer at home and a computer at work. And then, of course, within a household of family, with family members, you might have 7 or 8, 10 devices in a home. So this is not unusual. Also around 2009, 2010, you start to see a major movement of files from the desktop to the cloud. So to services like Dropbox and Google Drive, and ultimately Box, and then OneDrive. People, even prior to that, were uploading their photos to Flickr, which you can see there, and PhotoBucket, and others, so there's PhotoBucket there, and their videos to Vimeo and YouTube. So what's occurred over the last 5 or 6 years, it's been dramatic progress. But also what's occurred is a fragmentation of people's files across all of these various devices and cloud services. The result is we have multiple passwords. We might have to remember 7 or 8 different usernames and passwords for our computers and for our cloud services that we use. We have multiple search boxes, so we may have 7 or 8 search boxes, so we have to really remember where we keep all of our files and information. So this became a very complex problem for us to solve as we went through it. So the goals with this technology, we've had a team of 60 developers working on Jump to It since September. It's a worldwide development team. And it was a tremendous challenge. I was on every call with the development teams, and they're all over the world. They're in Germany, they're in India, they're in New York, they're in Seattle. We've had the support of a very large software company, which was very instrumental in helping us to get this product done, which is Microsoft. So we had great support from them as well. So the challenge really was, could we create a system where you have a single login to all of your files and information, one search box for all of your files and information, and then the ability to manage all of these different devices and cloud services as if they were one drive. So if I wanted to, for example, could I copy files from a folder in Dropbox to a folder in Google Drive, for example, as if it was one system. So we tried to create this unity, and of course it was very challenging. So as we began to develop it, we developed certain technologies. For example, we wanted the ability, if I were to access my files from those different devices that are different platforms, I'd want to be able to view that file for myself. Also, if I were to share it with all of you have different devices as well. So we wanted to make sure that you could view those files as well. So we had to convert those files. So it became extraordinarily complex. And the simpler we made the user interface, which is quite simple, the more challenging it became. So here you see these files are coming with the red icons in the bottom right corner from YouTube. And then you see 2 photos there coming from Box. So those are just my most recent files across the different devices and services. Here you have your consolidated music view and video view and photos and documents, etc. And here I have all my connected devices. So I can search, let's just search across these different devices. So let's do a search here for Coldplay. And immediately it brings up 2 folders. You see one from Dropbox and one from Google Drive, as if I were just searching on my local device. So let's go ahead and take a look at Google Drive. And I have a bunch of subfolders there. And I'll bring up some stuff here, some songs. So let's see what we get. And we'll try to actually play something. So that's coming from Google Drive through Jump to It. Now, if you went to Google Drive, all you would see there is a file. You couldn't really do much with it. There'd be no album art. You couldn't really play it. So there would be a limited capability with that file. Just as easily, we'll go back. And now we'll go to Dropbox, and we'll go into this folder here, and we'll bring up a song from Dropbox. Photos, etc., different locations. And I can just swipe music, video, photos, etc., different locations. And I can just swipe, which I just swipe with my hand to the next song, as you can see, and it will just play. So again, in Dropbox, you're just going to see a list of files. Okay, so now let's do a search across the different services here. So I just did a quick search, and you can see here a number of folders, which are Dropbox folders, and a number of folders here, which are Google Drive folders. And if I continue out, you'll see files coming up as well. See, look how much data is coming up from all of these different locations. And I can bring up photos here. So let's go ahead and bring up photos. So this is coming originally from an iPhone, actually, which I imported to Dropbox. And I can swipe to the next one here. The Blessed Islands are in Peru, by the way. So this is one of my sons. I have 2 boys. That's one of them. And you can see here these lines. These were drawn in the sand so long ago, maybe over the Nazca lines, which were drawn in the sand over, I think 10,000 years ago. But these are coming from different locations. So I'm going to jump ahead here. We'll look at some individual files, and we'll see if we can actually swipe between the different services as well. So to create the singular experience is what we're looking to do. So here you can see I'm going to go from this Dropbox file to a Windows Surface tablet to my home Macintosh computer. So, and then I'll go to Box. which is yet another cloud service. Okay, so let's give that a shot. So here's a video. Okay, it started. Let's go to the next track. So now we're going to another device, a different service. And now we're going to my home computer. And now we'll go to Box, yet another service. So this is really something because we've created this, basically reunified all of your files and information through a single interface. So you can search, you can easily share files, and pull it all together. So just to give you a little background on the effort we had to make to do this, again, we had a team of 60 developers. I encourage everybody really to pursue whatever it is that you love to do. There's nothing like embracing uncertainty, because with uncertainty, your life is always exciting. You don't really know where it's going to go 100%. And some of your plans will succeed and some won't. But you'll find your true ability in uncertainty. For example, with our company, there were many dimensions. Once I had the vision for the product, I went and raised over $12 million to build the platform and the technology. So I learned how to raise money, a very important part of doing this. 2, I had to learn how to manage people. So, managing 60 people and learning to really be patient and to really stay focused on the goal and be able to orient people on that goal. We had to learn how to market products and have press relations, work with the media and the press. So we were quite successful when we first launched the first version of this product, which was called Glide OS. We got coverage by the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and CNET, and PC World, and PC Magazine, USA Today, all of these publications. I went out to meet with 40 media organizations. I thought one would write, all 40 wrote. Okay, so we had this tremendous outpouring of customers and users. So there's so many facets to managing an organization, but you'll never really realize your true ability unless you embrace uncertainty and follow your bliss in your life. And really that's one of the wonderful, I think, themes of this whole program, and listening to all of these people speak before me who have found that in their lives. Sometimes it will be challenging, but challenge is what keeps us alive. So I would strongly urge everybody to really just realize, to really do everything to realize your potential, to find what it is that you love to do, and then go out and embrace it and do it. Thank you.